Can you believe that? I don't know.
Guys, it's just jokes, guys.
It's just jokes.
Yeah, but what makes it so funny is that it's true.
You know what I'm waiting for?
It's not even true. It's just jokes.
I'm waiting for my stimmy. You get your stimmy yet?
Oh, that's a good Urban Dictionary one.
Stimmy?
A stimmy.
You know what the stimmy is, right?
Yeah, it's the stimulus payment.
Yeah, bruh. We're waiting
Urban
for that.
Dictionary,
I'm getting stymied on my stimmy.
Dude, I love it. Dude, I don't know how anybody does not like socialism. It's the greatest thing ever. Yeah.
I don't know
Paychecks
why
coming
you
in
think
free.
I wouldn't
Woo!
know the definition of stimmy when
Stimmy?
I read the Urban Dictionary.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
How
one.
would you spell stimmy?
STIMMY.
Oh, it's a 2M one?
It's a 2M one.
We got to give it Eminem?
Eminem.
Well, stimmy, Jimmy.
Stimmy, it's a little
Because
stimmy.
if you spelled it STIMY, I would think stymie.
Stymie, right.
Yeah, it would
Jesus,
be stymie.
what is that?
Or EY would be stymie.
your dog.
Or something.
Lady's making her way around the room.
Oh, hello. Oh, hello.
Jesus, okay, there goes that take.
It came from underneath.
Oh, my Lord. Anyway, guys,
Did you know?
I think we're going to do some shout-outs, aren't we?
Did you know
But I
that-
can't hear you because the dog is beating its fucking tail all over the goddamn table. Would you stop, lady?
Wait, listen. This is what it sounds like in my house when people get excited.
Oh, my God. What's the dog doing in the studio?
She wanted some love.
Okay, lady off.
Somebody didn't close the fucking door.
It was you. You're the last one. You're the close one to the door.
Out, bitch.
It's your dog.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the stimmy. Okay,
So,
let's try that again, shall we?
Yeah, we should.
did you know that our guests have been doing shit?
Our guests.
Our guests have been doing shit.
All right.
do
So
you
we're
think
doing
of
shout-outs to our guests again.
Yeah, let's shout out our guests.
Well, the ones that are doing shit.
Yeah. Well, everybody's doing shit.
Well, the ones that are doing the most shit.
I think every day somebody's
now
doing
it's-
the shit.
Now that's not me.
Oh, no.
I'm not doing the most shitting on the group.
Oh, no. That's true. Okay, so who do we got to talk about today with the shit?
Well, we have, I think, 3 people
Okay.
today.
Oh,
Do you want me to name them?
Please.
Or do you want...
Well, no,
okay.
let's start with one.
Okay,
Give us
I'll
one.
just give you one.
All right.
We got Naomi Clockers.
Naomi again.
We have to shout her out and say congratulations on her role in the short film from Seattle.
Wow.
We can't really,
Is that all we can say?
yeah, we can't really talk about it yet because we don't really.
But you got a part
There's
in the
no
movie.
announcements been made.
We have an undisclosed project by an unknown person starring one person we know.
Right. That's cool.
But Naomi got the lead, so
Oh, good
Go,
for her.
Naomi.
That's good
Go,
for her.
Naomi.
I'm glad. She just doesn't want me to dunk on her ass still. She's still got to get over here and play some basketball,
Yep,
bruh.
yep. That challenge has been continued, and I do believe that when they do come up this way, they're going to come by for a visit.
which they are gonna do whenever they come here because Seattle is where it's being filmed.
Hopefully they don't drive off a cliff like Thelma and Louise.
Wow.
You know, that
Aren't
whole
you
thing
funny?
you guys got, the
Aren't
Thelma
you
and
funny?
Louise thing. You guys
Yeah.
going to do that for real?
What? Drive off a cliff?
Yeah.
We might.
Okay.
How about just start with going on a road trip and having some fun and some
That
good
would be
old-fashioned
We got to
sex?
fire up the black
Actually,
magic
we
with
are
Brad
going to do
Pitt.
that.
Yeah, we got to
'cause
film that shit, though.
You know what? Thelma's moving to California, so yeah, I am going to go on a road trip.
Oh, shit.
And maybe I might drive off a cliff. You never know.
Wait a minute.
What?
Y'all just going to overlook the fact that you get to have sex with Brad Pitt first?
Wait, what?
Remember I said I'm a lot
Who
like
gets-
Brad Pitt when I was watching World War Z the other day?
Oh, I
That's
thought-
interesting you said that,
I
Chuck, because I
thought
just
you
said
were-
I was.
I thought you were saying, like, really get to.
What about me?
Go to LA,
You're
leave
not
him.
Brad Pitt, Aaron.
What am I, chopped liver?
You're bad Pitt.
Bad Pitt? I'm Bad Pitt.
You're bad Pitt.
Yeah, I just need some
Yeah.
deodorant on that Bad Pitt. Yeah, okay, that's great. Who else we got, Chuck?
Hey, let's give a shout out to Ed Hartman, local composer, drummer, crazy man, just like the rest of us. But no, he's got a podcast going. Apparently, we have inspired people to do what we do in their own way.
Well,
We hope that he get the inspiration.
Yeah,
from
what
us.
do you think it was from us?
Yeah,
I don't know.
flatter yourself, Chuck.
Fuck me, I'm just trying to plug our own shit. Welcome to Around
Fuck
the
your
Reel.
dick.
Because we got to do some shit.
Welcome to Around the Reel has
Welcome.
turned for Ed Hartman into the wild world of music and film.
All right.
Yes.
He's got a few podcasts going out there, and what he does is a little bit different from what we're doing. Obviously, he talks to people more in the music industry,
Okay.
and rolls into film, as opposed to us who talk to everybody about everything,
Right.
and sometimes talk about the actual subject of the day.
Or shit
Sometimes.
in general. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I listened to one of his shows. Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Way to go, Ed.
That's awesome.
So
Good
keep it
job,
up,
Ed.
check it out, and give him a rating because he needs ratings so that his rating board will actually show something.
Yeah, we got to get on
Yeah.
there too and do that for you. We'll get on that, Ed. We got your back, buddy. Keep it
Listen
up.
to Ed's podcast, everybody. It's good.
Absolutely. I was going to shout out Kelvin Galoza.
Oh, let's do it. We always love shouting out
I get
Calvin.
warm every time we say his name.
I know, I love Calvin.
Yeah.
It's because he's from Puerto Rico, not because of weird stuff.
It's
You know,
not from-
I automatically think of where he's at. He sends us all these beautiful pictures of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, you'd lay on the beach with him, wouldn't you? You guys would lay together and stuff. It's weird.
Yeah.
You would. You'd snuggle with Kelvin Galoza.
Kelvin Galoza has done so much for this production company. I would rub suntan lotion wherever he wanted me to.
I know. And
Would-
Sam, I
should
told
we
I have
talk
to
about
suck his
what-
dick.
Yeah,
I
and-
still have to do that, which is going to be horrible.
I actually okayed that.
because I got to put hot sauce on it and shit. Seriously, because it's
Think of
At least you don't have to.
Would you put I can't even think of this right now. Would you put hot sauce on your own penis if you wanted somebody to suck you off? That would be painful for the person
No.
who's supposed to be enjoying it. I don't care what you want the taste to be.
I need flavor.
No.
Why do we always have to talk about Calvin's penis whenever we talk about Calvin?
Because it's funny. Anyway,
Kelvin, we don't think your penis is funny. The conversation topic is funny.
We've never even seen it.
but
so
after I
we
suck
don't
his
even know.
after I suck his dick, I'll let you know if his penis is funny.
Okay, yeah, tell us all
All
about
right,
it.
I'll be like, oh, he's got great
You know what?
jokes down there.
Kelvin, forget about your penis. Well, you don't need to. You have it. We're going to stop talking about your penis and talk about what you're doing.
Are we
Yes.
going to talk about his balls?
But not with your penis.
I'm going to talk about his film that he's working
Okay.
on. Well, I don't even know what it's called, but I know it's supposed to be badass. So they're doing a lot of stuff in Puerto Rico right now to get the ball rolling on getting the name of it out there. And
So is this another big secret thing we can't talk about?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's another one, but he's working.
But congrats on it.
Yeah, and he gets to do his short film as showing. I believe he's going to do when they premiere that other film.
What's that called?
That's called Mission We Go. And you know who did the voiceover for that film?
You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been waiting for almost a year now for him to do this because it's badass, too. I can't wait.
Just because you're in it?
No, not just because I'm in it. Well, yeah, that's the main reason why. But unfortunately,
You're not really in it.
unfortunately, I didn't get to do anything else on it because he cut the film. But this is the first time he made a short film.
It's actually really cool.
Yeah, it's really neat.
really cool.
I can't wait for people to see it. It's going to be badass. But anyway, Kelvin, good job, man.
We are excited about what you're doing, Kelvin, and we appreciate everything that you're doing with us.
Yeah, and I can't wait for it.
And I'm sorry that they're so obsessed with your personal parts.
I'm not obsessed with it. I'm just gearing up for what I got to do. I mean, he scored our whole movie. We owe him like $86,378.
Yeah, you got to suck his dick.
I got to suck his fucking dick.
And you guys wonder why we can't get sponsorships. Who's going to listen to this?
I don't
Somebody
know.
might want their dicks out.
Well, that's not the sponsorship I'm looking for.
All right. Well, let's get on to
Johnny's BJ's around the corner at...
Jesus Christ. Oh, my Lord.
Is it around the corner or around the reel?
It's getting real around the corner.
Or is it called Reach Around?
You know what?
It's
you
getting
know how I'm
real
going to end
around
this?
the reel.
You know how I'm going to end the shout-outs?
How are you going to
How?
end it?
Bouncing.
Oh, for
Oh,
fuck's
he's
sake.
going to bounce us out of here.
All right. Stay tuned for our next episode, you guys.
Bye.
Woohoo.
Welcome to Around the Reel with your hosts, Aaron Carlson, Charles Lawson, and Samantha Hanna. Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
I know. You guys are awful.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning. Good morning.
Sean Casey.
Yeah, welcome to Around the Reel.
Around the Reel is on the air right now. We are rolling it.
Well, thank you. Thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, brother. Badass. Where you from?
Well, I was actually born in Ashland, Oregon. But let's see, I live currently in Portland.
Okay.
I've been in the Northwest most of my life. I actually grew up mostly in Seattle. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Roundabout.
Right on. So what is he called? He's a scenic artist?
Oh, you call yourself a scenic artist, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's the job title that I work under. Yeah.
So tell us about what you do.
Well, I looked the definition up a while back, and I think it was on Wikipedia or dictionary.com or something, and it said that a scenic artist is somebody that deals with the surface treatments of a set, or a backdrop or something. So that sort of makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. So the carpenters will build the set, or perhaps the props people will come in and they have something, and then we go in and paint the set, the colors, or do whatever it needs to be done to the set according to what the production manager or production designer wants, or the art director, or the people in charge of props. Sometimes they'll bring a prop in they say, hey, we want this to look like it's 100 years old or something like that. And so we do things like that.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And then, that includes anything from, making fake bricks to doing wallpaper to making something look really old or making, fake concrete or wood graining, faux finishing, that kind of thing.
And you're really good. Yeah. We all went to your website and saw your work. It's amazing.
We stopped.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been about 2 years since I've updated it. I've done a lot more since then, but I'm glad you're able to check it out. Thank you.
Yeah,
you're
it's beautiful
extremely
stuff.
talented.
Set designing, man. He can make stuff.
Yeah,
he can paint the stuff.
Well, he can paint the stuff to make it look right.
Well, I can do carpentry as well, and I have done some set building and so forth. But generally, when I brought in, that's usually already done.
Oh, okay.
Their carpenters a lot more skilled and a lot more faster than I can ever do. So it's great to work with them. So,
dude, that's so badass.
That is so cool.
The carpenters put the plywood
right
attached to the frames, and then he paints it so it actually looks like something.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Chuck's a carpenter. How come he never built any sets for us, Chuck?
Because I'm smart enough to make sure that we use locations instead of sets.
So stupid.
Okay. He just doesn't want to do all the work.
Being budget
basically
conscious.
What he's saying.
Okay, budget conscious. I guess you're right. Yeah, budget conscious. How long you been doing this, Sean?
Well, I got into I've been a visual artist most of my life. I got into the TV movie realm about 10 years ago. I was brought on by a lady who I'd worked with doing theater backdrops and commercials and so forth. And she was working on a TV show, so she brought me on, and she was sort of my mentor and kind of showed me the tricks of the trade. And so worked on a TV show that was working here, and that led to another TV show here in the Portland area and a couple of small movies. So yeah.
Awesome.
Then I've continued to work with some of the theater companies in town doing stuff. So.
Pretty cool.
So when I was trying to follow and chase around everything, so did you work on Grimm when it was in?
I worked on Grimm a little bit in the last season. Okay. And I did do a couple of special projects early on, but that was really about, I think, season 6 or 7 it was. They had that pretty well stocked with some really talented people on Grimm, so they were doing fine. So.
Gotcha. I never watched that show.
You never watched Grimm?
I never watched Grimm. I always wanted to. I never saw it.
Well, now you can watch it on almost anything.
I've ever watched it either.
Oh, you haven't either?
I've worked on so much stuff I've never watched, so it's funny. But
no, that's super cool, man. Doing that kind of thing. How'd you fall into it, though? I mean, did you have this passion to want to create that kind of thing? You said you were an artist before, but
it was a very circuitous route. It was just I knew somebody that worked in the business, and then they brought me in, and I hadn't really worked on narrative. I'd done backdrops and sign painting and things for one-off projects, but I'd never worked on a narrative. I'd never really been on even a set.
Sure.
Up until I started doing the scenic stuff. So that was a whole new realm for me. Seeing how narrative works and what goes into actually what are the mechanics of making a show or making a TV or a movie.
Right.
So yeah, that's and then it's kind of fell into that and. It's kind of weird. It wasn't really a plan, but I love it.
Yeah,
it's great.
How fun.
Yeah.
What a good way to be able to do what you love to do, which is create and paint and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For an actual career, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, well, it's somebody said that in the entertainment industry, working in the entertainment industry is basically a lifetime of temp jobs. So,
Are you feeling that?
Career is sort of a loose term there.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
But yeah, it's a balance between, because there is the creative aspect of it, but you also have production costs. You have a time frame. You've got the art director, the production designer coming in saying, we want this, we want this, we want this, and it's got to be done in 2 days, and we're shooting in whatever. So, like any creative person, when you're dealing with a client, you have to balance that. Okay, don't get lost in the weeds. You're under budget. You have to take care of that stuff. So yeah,
that's the work part of it.
But thankfully I work with some really amazing, fun, awesome people.
Nice.
So
that helps.
Yeah.
That's the thing I've been thinking about this week a lot with because I'm switching careers here soon.
Oh, okay.
Okay, for the day job. And I was thinking about the difference between what a job is and like what a career is. You know, and I honestly believe a job is something you don't want to fucking do. You know, and a career is something that you love, that you're willing to put the work in for.
I've only ever had jobs.
You know what I mean? Yeah, me too. So for the most part, well, no, not necessarily. I mean, I felt like real estate was a career when I was doing it, but you know, everything I've done since that, which I'm going back into real estate, by the way, felt like a job to me because I didn't have the passion for it. It's just to pay the fucking bills kind of a thing, you know? So it makes me think about what you're doing. Do you feel like this is a career? I know we put in work. Do you consider it a job or a career, like what you're doing?
I don't know. I mean, I think in this day and age, the idea of a career is a little bit Morpheus. For me, I've never really been like, this is my goal. I've been more, this is a direction. Mm-hmm. And the goals will change sometimes, but if you're on the same direction, like I want to work around cool people and I want to, do this. And then sometimes that will lead to this thing or that thing. So I don't really get caught up in 5-year plans because I think, things change and so forth. So, for me, I think part of it is just sort of being a polymath in a way, being interested in a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. And I think if you're versatile, there's always going to be somebody there that needs you, needs your skills. And so I think especially for artists or anybody that's in the creative field, don't silo yourself into one thing, have a broad mindset. I've always loved the Renaissance artists because it wasn't just about them painting pictures. If they were going to, paint a picture of a horse, they wanted to know the horse anatomy. If they were going to paint a building, they wanted to know architecture. If they were going to paint the sky, they needed to be astronomers. And so I think that's sort of my template of what an artist should be is you should be all knowing about all sorts of things and not just, your little field.
Well, speaking of that, are you also a writer?
I took up the screenwriting bug about 4 years ago. So, that's been a very humbling experience.
It's fun.
Writing can be.
It is. Yeah, it's something I've never done long format writing before, and working in the TV and movies. Along the way, I had a little folder on my computer, and I would think to myself, well, if I were to do a show or a movie, what would it be about? And so I would do a little log line, and I started to get a pile of these ideas together, and the idea, I thought, well, I should just go pitch them somewhere, and I thought that what you did, and I talked to a friend of mine, and I said, hey, man, I've got these ideas, and he's like, look, dude, you're just going to have to write a full screenplay. Nobody gives a shit about some little idea or some pitch. They want to see they want to see something finished.
Right.
So I went back and went over the 50 or so ideas that I had, and I narrowed them down to about 6. And then one day I woke up and I put my art supplies aside, I put my unfinished paintings aside, and I just said, from now on, I'm writing. And so that's what I've been doing pretty much. Where I would normally do visual art before, I now do writing in my free time.
I got you.
But yeah.
Do you equally enjoy both, or do you like one more than the other?
Well, I don't know. I think I had sort of reached an impasse on my visual art. In some ways, I done different types of it, and I didn't feel like, I felt like there was maybe another muscle or another skill that I should try to do. And I think right now we're in the golden age of, if you're a creator, this is no better time to be a creator than now, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And content is king. And so I thought I would just start writing, make stories, and see where they go. And I still consider myself learning. I'm basically just trying to build up a body of work right now. I'm not really out hitting the pavement trying to get people into them. I'm more like, I've completed 5 feature-length screenplays so far. I've got 3 that are about halfway to 2/3 done. And then I'm also going back to my previous screenplays, and I'm actually doing all the storyboards. I'm doing scene breakdowns. I'm doing budgets, just so that, the idea of all these screenwriters, they talk, even the best screenwriters, they may only get 2 or 3 of their scripts made into a movie, and then they've got a dozen sitting on the shelf. And I'm not going to do that. Everything that I write is going to be, even if it's made into a comic book, I'm going to
You're going to tell the story somehow, some way. Good for you, man. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
Do you have a specific genre that you're writing, or do you just kind of have stories from everything?
wasn't really planned, but most of them I would say they're horror thriller.
Right down my alley, bro.
Low budget horror thriller. I mean, now that I've worked on TV and movies, I know, what, when I'm doing an exterior shot, I'm thinking about, wow, are they going to have to rent a crane for that? Or
Right. Yep.
So it really keeps me one side on the budget side and the logistics side of things. So that's really been a help.
Yes.
But
I always, when I'm writing screenplays, it's frustrating sometimes for me in that regard because my imagination can go so far, which is probably the same with you. And you're thinking all this cool shit that you could do and you want to tell the story this way. And then you think about, okay, how can I make this though? And then you end up dumbing it down a little bit and then dumbing it down a little further. And you get stuck in kind of a weird place because you're thinking to yourself, well, if I write the story I want to write, maybe that could be one of those I could pitch to somebody else and they can go make it because they've got this budget and whatever. And then, but I'm selfish and I'm like, fuck that. No, I want to make my own movie. So then I have to dumb it down. But it's interesting when you're writing. I find that there's two things I love about filmmaking. Okay. One is the writing process and the other one is the editing process. Because to me, they're both kind of like you're writing it. You know what I mean? You're putting together the story. And, have you ever thought about like actually directing a film, or are you thinking more or less just writing, or do you visualize it that way?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I have no illusions about somebody coming along and dumping a bunch of money onto, to have a spec screenplay made. So what I'm doing is I'm just going ahead as if it was getting ready to be produced. So I'm actually making shot lists. I'm making this doing a budget. And, I'll have to scale that budget. I mean, I've even thought, make the whole thing, an animated thing, or maybe, do all the sets in Blender or, something like that. I mean, I don't really know. I'm just marching ahead with the logistics and, getting,
it sounds like you're doing your research though and seeing all the different ways you could go with one thing.
Whatever avenue he can find to tell the story, he's willing to do it.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, content is king.
Right.
And, one of my big influences was the comic artist Frank Miller.
Oh, fuck.
I don't know if you ever heard of him. But
I sure have, man.
Yeah, big fan of his work. And he went on into doing movies and so forth like that. And in some ways, he's somewhat of a template for me in the sense that he went from, comic book. It's really about story. Yeah. And if you can translate the story, whether it's a comic strip or a comic book or an animated, you get it out there. Yeah. I mean, there's been a couple of visual artists that have dabbled into the movie and TV realm, which is sort of was inspiring for me. Yeah,
Frank Miller actually inspired me quite a bit too. In fact, when we made our last feature, Sin City is one that really got me really well visually. So I kind of used that template almost when we were making The Outrider. But I mean, he's fabulous to read. Sam, you need to read some of those comic books.
Yeah, if you,
They're good.
They're really good. I mean, you could trace really the cool shit, Marvel stuff almost back to Frank Miller because he did the Dark Knight comic book before the movie came out, and that was really the first exploration where he had was able to, if you get a chance, read that graphic novel that he did, The Dark Knight, and then Ronin, which was another series of samurai stuff. And his art's very cinematic. Yes. Very film noir. I mean, lots of blacks, very expressionistic, very simple though. He's very, gets down to the nitty gritty of it. Yeah. But I remember reading, those Daredevil comics in the 80s, just being blown, when Elektra, he brought Elektra onto the scene, created her. And there was this whole storyline that went on for about 20 or 30 pages when he was working on Daredevil that I think was some of the best. It was just amazing work, but very cinematic quality. Absolutely. To it, the way he would set the shots up and so forth.
Hell yeah. Didn't he do 300 too?
He did 300.
That's
yes,
right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah, and Sin City and Ronin. That was a good one. That was a series that he did.
Didn't Keanu Reeves make a Ronin movie? I think he did.
I'm sorry?
Keanu Reeves. Didn't he do a Ronin movie not too long ago?
Was that based off that? I'm not sure on that.
I don't know either.
I think so.
I think he did. I don't think it did very well, though.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's too bad. But he's John Wick, though. So he's got that still going for him.
Actually, he's Keanu Reeves. He played John Wick. Just like you're Aaron Carlson. You played Marcus Ford.
Oh, he
wait,
thinks
no.
he's Marcus Ford.
No, I am Mike. I was that
You're
guy.
Mike?
I am that guy. I am Marcus Ford. That's me.
No, you're not.
I'm cool like that.
I'm gonna say what Chuck said to you when you guys were playing your game.
Oh no!
Oh, shit.
Oh no! Sorry, Sean. We're taking a little detour
No,
here.
that's fine. Please,
yeah.
please.
What happened?
Fuck
Sam?
your dick, he said.
Oh, God. Okay. So Chuck
I
and
never laughed so hard in my life. He told Aaron, "Fuck your dick."
Okay. So the other night, Chuck and I were having our. We play Ghost Recon on Xbox Live. Okay, so
What was that? I'm sorry.
Ghost Recon. We were playing Ghost Recon
okay.
on Xbox Live. He and I are just in the lobby. We're just going through some missions, and I guess apparently he had a bottle of.
I didn't have a bottle. I had a drink.
He had
And
a
it just
drink.
happened to have been 103 proof
Okay, 103 proof liquor.
brown sugar bourbon.
Yeah, literally after a couple sips of this, he was gone. Gone.
Wow.
And he
That'll
said,
warm the belly.
"Yes."
He said, "Fuck your dick."
And why would you tell me to fuck my dick?
I don't even. Now someone's giggling, but what was the context? Do you
I
remember?
don't know.
That's all I heard, but it was funny enough that it. I just heard, I'm in the other room and I just hear you go, "Fuck your dick."
So here's the funny thing.
It was so funny.
We got to get Chuck a little nip on the show one day just to see what comes out of your mouth. Because
Wait, we did with Crystal.
Yeah, we did a little
That
bit.
was kind of, but not. It wasn't 103 though. There's something about 103 that gets you.
Well, 103
I'm
hits
sure
me.
there's a bottle there somewhere, you guys, right?
There
Oh,
is.
there is
It's
somewhere, yeah.
It's downstairs.
Just off screen.
Boy, yeah, you know us well.
It is there.
There is somewhere around here.
There's only creamer in this coffee.
Yeah. I got the 3-stage bong over here.
There you go.
Out of sight.
Oh man, that's good stuff. Sean and I are a lot alike, Sam.
I can actually hear that.
Yeah, because he's got he's got his hands in a lot of different things and doing a lot of different
Yeah,
stuff.
and he likes the same stuff like you.
Yeah, but he can do things I can't do because he can do all the painting and stuff like you.
And storyboarding.
Well, no, that's another thing. Sean, I need you on our team here because we have movie stuff to do, and Chuck can't do any of that shit, and I need him to do that stuff.
Hey, I find myself with some free time on my hands these days. So yeah, you'll have to let me know.
Awesome.
So, absolutely.
Definitely,
Yeah.
Sean. Yeah, see, he has no problem with shot listing and storyboarding,
I know.
and it's your script
I know.
that we're getting ready to work on.
I know.
Oh, okay, great. As long as he knows, I guess that's it. But
Knowing is half the battle.
It's
It
a
is
collaboration, though. It's a collaboration, remember?
well, no, because if he does do it, I'll get
Are you
jealous
guys
because then I'll
working
be
on
like,
a feature right now?
Yes.
yeah, we're working on 2 different films. Documentary Sam's got going, and we also
nice.
have a feature film that Chuck wrote that we're getting ready to film. Hopefully,
Nice.
springtime. Yeah,
Now, are you guys in Seattle?
We're in,
Seattle, Tacoma area. Yeah,
Okay.
up in the
actually
Pacific
more
Northwest.
Tacoma, Gig Harbor, Port Orchard area.
Well, that's
Oh,
where
yeah,
Chuck
yeah,
lives.
yeah.
Well, yeah, but I apologize, Sam, too. I just realized I totally washed out your poster behind you. Because Sam
it's okay.
has, Aaron has The Outrider, which was the last feature film we did. And
Oh,
over,
yeah, okay, there
over
we go.
Sam's
There we go.
shoulder is actually
It
the
was,
giant
well,
octopus documentary poster that,
You can't see it.
but you can't see it because it's washed out from the lighting, so we could all look cool.
Yeah, yeah. We need someone who can
okay.
do the lights around here a little bit better too. Chuck, what do you
Yeah,
think?
I like your
Fuck a
lighting
dick.
setup. Your lights
Fuck
are
your
nice.
Thank you.
I feel pretty generic here. So.
No, it looks
No, you
great.
look sharp.
It looks great.
So
I'm
speaking
just
of
glad there's art on the wall.
Yeah, is that your art behind you, by the way?
Yeah, I went through some abstracts that I had laying around. So yeah,
That is
So-
cool,
Awesome.
man. That's
Very cool.
Oh, thank you.
That's really, really cool shit.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys even paint. I'm going to get into the painting thing for a
Yeah,
second.
absolutely. Ask if you have any specific paintings or questions, anything. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would love that because Sam and my daughter can paint their asses off, and I watch them do this stuff. And
Oh,
I'm
your
like,
daughter?
I said our daughter.
Okay.
We have a daughter together. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I know. That's
See,
why
let
I
me
was
tell you
like,
what
didn't say
happened. We
our
had
daughter,
sex,
you said-
and then I.
Hey,
Okay, sorry.
stop. Stop it right
Actually,
now.
let me tell you what happened that night you passed out. Aaron had sex.
Zucchini.
That is the cutoff word for the show.
That is-
Zucchini means shut
The
up.
fuck up.
Okay, so painting we were talking about, and I guess I did kind of paint a little bit with you too. Sam. Sorry. Anyway,
Zucchini.
it amazes me that some people are naturally gifted to be able to do this. Our 12-year-old daughter can just do it. She never
Oh,
took
she
classes
can-
for it. She
No.
can just do it, right?
Yeah.
Sam's kind of the same way. I think you're kind of got that same gift. and I see your work. Does it just come from somewhere?
Well, I think, I remember I was teaching a class, I think it was at some elementary school years and years ago. And I asked it, everybody said, hey, who here likes to draw? And, literally everybody, every third grader, fourth grader, fifth grader raises their hand because they all draw. And then when people get older and older and older, they don't, their numbers, and I think a lot of it, there were people that I knew that drew better than me when I first started out.
Okay.
But then they never followed up on it. And I just kept, it was, I don't know. Some people say, oh, he's naturally gifted. Well, I think there may be some of that, but a lot of it's just spending hours. I had no life, basically I had no TV at the house when I was growing up, and I was an only child, and all I did was draw and read. So, okay. I think if you just do enough of that, and that's what I find with writing. Because part of me thought, oh, well, when I wrote my first screenplay, I thought, oh, this looks kind of good. You obviously kind of get proud of yourself. And then by the time I got to the third and the fourth script and the fifth script, and I went back to my first one, I was like, oh my God, this is bullshit. Right. So I had to go back and just be a brutal editor and just like, oh my God, this is just, and so you got to get out of those clouded eyes that you're in. There's that sort of survivor bias, or, it's like, well, I just did this. This was something I just did, so it must be great.
Right.
I put all this time into it. But then you need that 6 months, that 8 months to kind of let it percolate and go back. So, so for me, it's, it's being the student all over again with writing. And, it is tough. And especially, I'm not used to being sedentary. And I think even with painting and illustration, there's some sedentary part to it, but you're actually, stretching a canvas, you're moving your hand and so forth. And with writing, you're sitting there with the screen or the paper in front of you.
Yep.
And that's it.
It's
not like I can, clean house and write, or it's not like I can, it's like you have to sit there. And that's really what took me for a loop, because I get real antsy. I can't sit, I could never really have a computer job, even just for, an hour, 2 hours at a time and so forth. But a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take my laptop or I'll take my writing and I'll go to some place. Okay. And then I'll go there, because for me, it's sort of like my office. Okay. It's like, okay, dude, you're going to be here, get this done. So instead of sitting at the house looking at the four walls, so I think it's just work. It's craft. It's not just, inspiration. The muse comes along and drops a bunch of little muse dusts on your head. And then all of a sudden your mind opens and, you're, proficient. Right. It's a little bit more, elementary, I think.
Yeah. Well, no, you're right. It does take work, and it does. Everything you get better as you go along. So I guess like even Dylan, like his son cannot draw at all, at all. No, like we play Pictionary with him, and like no one will ever guess what he's drawing because he cannot draw.
But got zero talent.
But the kid can play a video game. He can destroy anybody on a video game because that's what he does. So the more practice he's put into all those video games, if he would have put that into say drawing, he wouldn't be
maybe,
but he wouldn't be as bad as he is.
But here's the oh, go ahead, Sean.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I don't play video games, but some of the ones I've seen, there's just so much, there's so much going on.
Oh, yeah, they're intricate.
Storylines, and you've got to have this kind of armor. And,
sure.
Yeah. It's sort of, I think you've got to definitely problem solve, I think, to some degree.
Absolutely.
And I think with the drawing, some people say, oh, they're not into drawing. I don't know. I think, there's nothing more intimidating than a white sheet of paper. And we all want anything that we want on that white sheet of paper. We want it to have meaning.
Right.
Oh, we want this to mean something. But I think we have to allow ourselves to sketch and to just make scribbles, and even with drawing, I've even encouraged people that even if they don't draw, just take a pencil and a piece of paper and just do circles.
Yeah.
Well, I think it has to start with an interest.
Or just move the pencil across the paper, just to know your tools and get familiar with it, know how to do a curve and so forth. And looking at those old animation books are a great way for any artist to start off, because you basically, with animation, it's like you do the circle head, the circle body, the two tubes come out for the leg. then you add on the the nose and the eyes and so forth, and that's basically the composition. Whether you're doing a photorealistic or a cartoon.
Yeah.
And yes, he's describing making Mickey Mouse.
Right.
And every other cartoon from the 30s and 50s.
Yeah, exactly. They're all circles and tubes.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, I asked him about the painting aspect of things and whether or not that just naturally came to you and then you brought up our son Dylan. And I'm thinking to myself, you see, now Dylan's naturally gifted athletically.
Oh, athletically.
He's super athlete
and
of the year.
And problem solver.
And problem solver.
He's
Like, it comes easy
yeah.
to him. You know what I mean? Where I think that everybody can learn everything. But some people will take longer to learn a craft because they're just
not
naturally
interested.
gifted in that area to begin with. So it takes them longer, maybe. Right.
There's no interest for him in drawing. Like, he doesn't really care about that.
Right, but he could learn how to draw.
He could if he was interested. It would be easier.
Yeah, but here's my kick. It's just like you could teach somebody every technique there is to run a 100-meter dash, and they could learn how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But naturally, they may not be fast enough to ever beat
Could they
Dylan,
do
who's
it like
naturally
Dylan? Yeah.
fast.
No.
Right.
So if you're a painter, like you are, or Sam is, or even our daughter Eva, and you guys can naturally just can flow and do your thing, where someone like me grabs it and I'm like, I paint flying everywhere. I couldn't fucking do it without learning. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's why I brought that up, because I think it's a natural gift.
Yeah,
I think that we do get gifts.
Maybe.
Let me just add to that really quick before your input there, Sean. He has a problem with a roller on a white wall.
Yeah,
I mean, he really struggles in all aspects of painting.
Nope, couldn't do
There's
it.
no amount of painting
Well, you
he
did
could
do it.
ever.
It just took a long time.
Yeah, there's shit flying everywhere. Yeah, it is.
It's
Well,
pretty bad.
I had a theory a little bit because I've worked around some really skilled carpenters, people that are just brilliant. I mean, they can just, knock out a wall, knock out of this, knock out of that, very efficient with their moves, efficient with their actions, and no wasted motion type of thing.
You never work
I've
with
run
Chuck,
into some of
so.
these people that are very talented as carpenters but can't paint, which, I thought, that's kind of interesting, and my theory is that there are people that are good with solids, like boards, measurements, cutting, and there are people that are good with liquids.
Okay.
And so I think paint is, obviously the liquid form. It's a little more Morpheus. It's a little more happenstance. And that may be for a certain kind of personality. Whereas a carpenter or somebody that builds stuff, I mean, they say, I can't paint. I get it. Just like you're saying, Aaron, I get paint all over me. But then they're like these master carpenters, and I'm thinking, why can't they, figure this thing out? And that's my theory. It's the theory of solids, and there are people that deal with solids better than liquids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good breakdown.
That's a good breakdown. I like that.
Yeah,
That
I
is
did
a
too.
good breakdown.
Huh. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
it
weird.
is. It's weird to think about that kind of stuff. Yeah, definitely.
You wonder where everybody gets their stuff from. Is it really just the DNA, or is it just what? I mean, is there some higher power, Chuck, that gives everybody something? Go, we need a little bit more artists in this way.
Is that a loaded question? Because I'm going to tell you yes, because we already know I'm religious.
Yeah,
I know. But I was just curious if that part of the story.
I think it's such a combination of things. It really is a combination of things.
It's amazing.
Like, you have to, ultimately, I think you have a gift, maybe from your DNA or whatever. Artistic people, usually their parents are artistic, their kids are artistic. That usually, is a DNA thing, sort of. But you also have to have an interest, and you also have to have, want to do it.
No, I got you.
Sort of thing. I mean, and then practice. And there's so many things that really to go into something like that, I think.
Right.
Because someone could be, they could be born with a voice and be able to sing, but they don't care about it and they don't sing.
Right.
But when they do sing, it's like, whoa.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's exactly my point. Okay, I'm with you. All right. See, we agree.
Yeah, we agree.
I think,
Oh, shit.
This is episode 50.
This is 46.
46, and
episode
Aaron
46.
and Sam finally agreed
I
on
agree. I
something.
totally agree. I agree. Yeah, that's a great point you made.
I won't agree with the next thing he says.
Yeah, it's fine.
Well, I wanted to add on about, sort of this nurture nature thing. I don't know if any of you read that book, Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell.
I have not. No.
Very good book. It really talks about, he kind of tackles the idea of the natural born genius and that how much environment plays on the success of people. And he actually talks about Bill Gates specifically.
Oh, wow. What is it called again?
It's called Outliers.
Outliers.
Outliers. It's by Malcolm Gladwell. great book. He's done a lot of series of books, just basically about, psychology, sociology, that type of thing. And, people say, oh, well, Bill Gates, he's this great businessman. And, he is a great businessman, but also his mom had access to some of the earliest computers in the late 60s, and she was the head of the computer club, and he went to this very private school in the early 70s, and his dad was a very, very prominent attorney, so he learned about, business early on.
Right.
And, so those are a lot of these outlier things, that helped make him what he is. And then Malcolm Gladwell also talks about in the book about this guy who I guess has one of the highest recorded IQs in the world.
Holy shit! Okay.
But he's so, he tried to get into Reed College, but he didn't have enough money for the application, and because his personality was so effusive and whatever, it was very outgoing. He's now like a farmer living in Montana.
Oh my gosh!
Working on livestock. He's solving differential equations and everything, but he's sort of this, he's one of those people that he didn't have the silver spoon. Yeah. He didn't have the people to guide him in his way.
Right. He didn't get the
and
push.
It just sort of shows how our environment and our connections play a massive part.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people think, oh, I'm that, I'm on a rail against, I'm this one person that's come up. But, we're actually, in a lot of ways, the product of our environment.
Absolutely.
And we have to give that credit.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
That is true, though. It's very true.
It really is. Because I think about, as he's telling that kind of story there, I was thinking about my environment when I was a kid. I was in front of the TV all the time. I was always in front of movies all the time.
Well, and you think about...
That's what I did. Comic books all the time. There was always stories. There was novels. There was always something that had something to do with a story. All the time.
We always talk about people who their talent is, it outshines people that are popular.
Right. Well,
we always talk about that.
Right, like me.
Aaron,
elaborate on that, Sam.
Cucumber? Zucchini?
What are you thinking about?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sean. What did you say?
No, I said, Sam, do you mind elaborating a little bit about that, about the outshining? Or what you mean by that?
Well, we always talk about, because there's artists we like. They're not very well known, but they're great. Right. They're amazing. They're better than artists you hear on every day on the radio.
Oh, correct.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And you wonder, why is it that these other people made it, and these people that are far more talented, in our opinion, didn't make it. And I think it has a lot to do with what you were talking about, where the environment that you're raised in, and some people don't have the same opportunities as others.
Maybe. Could be.
Yeah, I think the term also made it is also can sometimes be a little bit of a gilded cage, because one story I think about, I'm sure you've heard of Norman Rockwell.
Oh yeah.
So he did all those paintings for the Saturday Evening Post, and he did a cover for them back in the, I don't know, it was the late 50s or something. And this was when the abstract expressionists were all, I don't know if you're familiar with the abstract expressionists of the 50s in New York, but that's where the post-war modern art, stuff that looks like the stuff behind me was starting to really get big.
Okay.
And he did a painting, Jackson Pollock, who you've probably heard of, splatter paintings. And he did a cover of the Saturday Evening Post, and just shows him sort of like autobiographical, and he's standing in here befuddled looking at this modern art, what the, and here he is, this photorealist, painter. But then I found out later that, in some ways, Norman Rockwell felt really trapped in his style. And he had a certain style.
He did, definitely.
And when you have a money-making style, and it's providing you a lifestyle, that can be a trap for a lot of people, and not just visual art, but I think in anything. I think people say, hey, I'm kind of over this. But I remember many years ago, I was doing all these dark paintings, and they were kind of gothic and this and that. And I thought, I got to lighten this up a little bit. So I started doing these little cat paintings, little portraits of cats. And I ended up making about 30 paintings of different cats, and I sold every single one of them.
Yeah.
I several $1,000s, one lady came in and bought 9 of them from these little 6x6, and I'm basically wrote me a check for $1,000, and
sweet.
And I probably could have just kept painting cats.
Right.
God, I guess I should like cats built more.
It's one of those things that works. That's kind of, you got a very
But then I
good
would have
point.
just been phoning it in.
Right.
And I felt like I'd run my course. And that was, I did my grand I called it Cat Dalla, which I think is on my website. And it's basically this cat in the middle with cats coming around the side of it. And that was like, I call it my magnum opus. And that was basically my last cat painting that I did. And so I kind of signed off on that. But yeah, it's the making it is it's a weird thing, I think, especially for artists, because you know, if you get a big check for something that maybe you're not really into in a year,
right,
that can be a little bit of a problem. And
it's true. Yeah, it's like studio stuff. So if you're, let's say someone like us, we're making movies, right? And we're doing it on an indie level, but we have all this complete freedom to do what we love to do. And if we want to shift gears and make a totally different style of movie, we can do that, right?
Right.
And maybe
thank goodness.
Yeah, and maybe maybe one of us gets hired for a studio job. And there's that fat paycheck sitting on the table. But you're completely doing something like, oh, this is just cookie cutter kind of. No, this has already been done 1,000 million times. Do you take the check and do it? And is it then a job? Mm-hmm. Or is it still that career and that love and that passion that you're trying to do? So I hear what you're saying, Sean, about that. You can get stuck. And what is made it? Because that's a great, great point. Like, you know, there's people out there that have created these art, whatever it is, and they might die. But then later, someone sees their shit and becomes like this classic or cult hit or something after they passed away.
Excuse me.
Did they make it?
Well, how many times does that actually happen?
Do you know what I'm saying?
Just because they're not there too,
because they're making the money,
right?
Right.
But yes, to answer your question, I think yes, they made it, because even though they're not experiencing what happened, what their passion was and what they were driven to do reached out and touched people finally.
Well, here's
whether they were alive or dead when it happened. Yeah.
But that's the catch right there, because think about it. We've made it then.
Duh.
See what I mean? Even though we haven't made any of the money, we made it.
It depends on what
people that
it
watched our films
Yeah.
and absolutely loved our film. We touched people with what we created. Did we make it?
Before we
Depends on
became,
your.
That's why he's saying it's complicated.
before we became filmmakers, we were storytellers.
Yes.
And all we wanted to do was have people hear our stories.
Yeah.
Correct.
You started as a novelist. Mm-hmm. And now, granted, I'm the only one who read most of your novels, but still.
Right.
Hey, wait. I couldn't because he was missing pages.
I know. I actually have all the discs over here. I got to actually try and get those transcribed off. But anyway, the point being is we want people to hear our stories and be moved by what we say.
Yes.
And so, but because our movies, The Outrider touched people, the story touched people, and it moved them. Mm-hmm. That movie is successful. I don't give a shit how much money it made.
Correct.
That movie was successful because it did its job.
Yes.
Our next movie will do the same thing.
Correct.
Now, each story we tell is going to get better. Each movie we make is going to get better. And we're just going to keep reaching out and touching people.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, Chuck. What if, so we like to dabble in everything, right? Am I right? Like we're doing a faith-based, we did The Outrider, and now we're doing a documentary. You know, we like to do lots of different things.
Yep.
I don't know, testing ourselves or challenging ourselves, I should say. Mm-hmm. But what if something sticks? What if the documentary really stuck? Would we stick with those because it was making us money?
Hell yeah. That's the bread and butter.
Even if
that's the bread and butter right there.
Even if we didn't enjoy them,
well,
would we?
I would.
I have to go. You go first. I got something to say too.
Oh no, you go ahead. You go ahead. I talk too much all the time. You go.
Yes, I would be happy with us making money, making documentaries because of the fact that one, this first documentary series we're starting is the Pacific Northwest. Mm-hmm. So all the genres and stuff that go through our heads and the things that we can enjoy, that we all enjoy separately, we can create the documentaries to it. Starvation Heights, the bootlegging out of Seattle,
Bigfoot stuff,
Prohibition, Bigfoot stuff.
Yeah.
There's so many different things that we can go through. And then also, if that's all we're doing, we can spend the time to find more stories that we want to tell as opposed to what somebody is telling us to tell.
Well, maybe the documentary is a bad idea because maybe that's too vast. You could do a documentary about literally anything. Okay. So let's say faith-based.
Yeah, let's say faith-based. No, I'm not doing those all the time.
we could totally do a documentary about Casey Treat and all the things that he's gone through to, and it's only the one documentary we have to make that year.
Yeah.
And everybody will buy it.
Well, what if it is a faith-based thing, though? Let's say that.
Did you say Casey Treat?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard that name, and I remember being up in Seattle. I think didn't he have a local ministry up there? Or
oh yeah, it blew up. I mean, he was trying to. I think he was trying to go. Billy Graham, Franklin Graham.
Franklin Graham.
Yeah, he's
my
got
man.
that great red hair, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, he
I don't
created
even know who
all
that
these
is.
different outreaches. And
A
actually,
redheaded Christian.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Spiky red hair too. It looks like Sting from Dune. But seriously, he had all these things going, these ministries going, and they were actually building the church in downtown Purdy.
Really?
And then COVID hit, and then the city said you have to do all these extra things to make this church finish. And I mean, you have to realize the shell's up. I mean, everything's almost done.
Okay.
He pulled out
Okay.
because he didn't want to spend money.
Got it.
I was like, dude, you're the only church with the money to finish it now.
Interesting.
But some of the local churches got together and they're going to share the building. So
I gotcha.
yeah. So guess what? There's half our fucking documentary right there.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So yes, we can make a documentary and be passionate about anything. Now, are we going to continue? I mean, if somebody said we have to make documentaries on every sea life creature in the Pacific Northwest, if Aaron's not willing to get in the water, that's going to get old fast.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
I'm getting in
But
the,
no, it's an interesting point, though. Like, where is the line? I mean, I guess it does matter what your long term goal is. Like, if we're trying to grow a company and we see a certain, a piece of content we're making is the one that seems to resonate with an audience more and does get us those financial, dollar bills that we're looking to achieve to grow other projects we're doing. I don't mind doing that to fund, these other experimental or just passion projects. That's what it's about. That's what you're supposed to do, right? That's how I think of it. What do you think?
Your work funds your hobbies. Yeah. That's pretty much how it goes.
That's what I'm thinking.
Tell me about it.
Sean, go ahead.
Oh, no, for me, especially doing commercial art, and if there's one thing I'm pretty good at, I think it's compartmentalizing.
Okay.
That when somebody hires me to do something, I'm basically a hired brush.
Okay.
It's not about me. It's not about my opinion. It's not about unless they ask me my opinion.
So you could just shut that off and do just what someone wants.
That's good.
I basically just tune my thing off. I'm like, okay, I'm a hired gun. Mm-hmm. I remember one time I was doing some window painting for a car lot. And I was painting this giant, 0% financing,
Right.
I mean, the 0% was like 8 feet tall or something like that. And I just thought it was so funny. Here I am, pretty skilled artist, and I'm painting 0% financing.
I get to make circles still.
But it was like, it's a job. It's, people were paying me. And
Sure.
I think that's where the craft, you have to realize you're sort of a craftsman in some way. You're like a plumber. Plumber goes in, they fix stuff. I mean, people need art. They need something. They need a problem solved. And so I compartmentalize that, and then I do my own thing.
Gotcha.
And my own thing is unlimited freedom. Now, just because I have unlimited freedom doesn't mean anybody wants to see it or look at it. But so I don't really try to mix the two together. I think you can't serve two masters.
Interesting.
That's a good point.
You have to kind of serve one master, or you serve your own, or you serve the guy that you're doing, but trying to meld the two together and fight it out creatively, I think is somewhat of a fool's game.
Well, there's a difference. There's doing something for getting paid, which you're going to have to. That's going to take away from your creativity somewhat. I don't know. Personally, I always argue this point because it upsets me. Like composers, for instance, when they are hired, they are told what to do. And they don't. I completely disagree with that. I think that's total bullshit. I think they should have the freedom to do whatever they want because that's who they are. And I think people should pick a composer based on the artist that they are and let them do their magic because that's where the magic is, I think. But they don't do it that way and they tell them what to do and stuff. And I just think, gosh, I wonder how good your story could be with that freedom that you give an artist to do their thing.
I'm with you.
Gee, thanks, Sam.
Well, I think with,
threw me under the bus.
I heard somewhere that movies are the most expensive art form there is.
Oh, yeah.
It's the most labor-intensive art form there is. And so I think, even, with dealing with composers and so forth like that, I can totally understand why somebody would be very, they've spent, $900,000 and now they're going to spend $50,000 on the composing and, sound means a lot to it. For me, I sort of like it when people give me limits. They say, okay, we need this to be purple and blue and it's got to have this type of face. And
Why
for me,
do you
it's like,
it?
okay, I don't have to go through the Rolodex of every possible, iteration.
Yeah.
This person said, hey, make this blue square and then put a white border around it. it's like, okay, it's not something I would normally do. I don't find it particularly, interesting, but I can put on my earbuds, listen to a podcast, and knock it out.
Yeah, I suggest Around the Reel.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I get what he's saying. That's an excellent point, Sean. Because you've got your ability to create, and it does take a lot of work. Like you said earlier, sitting in front of that computer or that blank page. You sit there sometimes, and you gotta. It's you're working. Your brain is going everywhere. But if someone came in and said, "Hey, write this real quick, Aaron," and they gave me this, you need you to write this, and this, and then you start typing, that's easier. It's way easier. And that's what he's saying. You're just the brush, and I totally understand what you mean by that.
Unless you're in school and a teacher's telling you to do it, and you're like, I don't want to write that shit.
But it's not. True. But it doesn't come from your own personal. Well, I guess some of it would, but your own personal creativity. When you have the creative freedom to do whatever
I think
your
that's
mind
takes
though. You.
Yeah, I think that's different though. I think there's a difference between the fork and then what you're eating. Almost. The fork is what you would get hired to do. You're a utility tool almost. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what he's saying. And he's able to separate that. Yeah, that's a great point. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Really? You know what I mean?
Can I ask anybody else here a quick child question? When he said purple and blue with any kind of face, did anybody else think of Skeletor, or was it just me?
No, I didn't think of it. But
you didn't. Make a good point. I didn't, but now.
That's a good point.
He said, that was the first thing that popped in my head.
What's that condition people have where synesthesia, they think of colors when you say something, they think of pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Synesthesia.
Yeah, Chuck has
that. Some shit like that.
I've got, if it's got a weird name to it, I got it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just want to know what colors were you thinking of when you said fuck your dick?
Yeah, what colors were there, bro?
It was a dark place.
I guess so. Jesus. That is brutal.
That's the funniest thing you've ever said, Chuck.
She's still laughing about that.
It was really good.
Oh,
hey,
man.
Aaron, I had a question. They had mentioned that you had written novels.
Yeah.
And I've assumed, did you transfer over to writing screenplays?
I did, actually.
And how was that? How was that whole thing? Because, novels to me, it's just a lot more words. That's why I sort of like screenplays, because I don't have to be the voice of God. I could just say, hey, this, but there's also that nice where you do have the voice of God in novels. So how do you balance that?
Well, that's the funny thing. When I'm writing a screenplay, I honestly think I'm still writing a shorter novel. I still use all the descriptive terminology. I want the on paper, the story to still, like if you were reading it, you'd still get the feeling you would as a novel.
He's the Stephen King of script writing.
Well, yeah.
387 pages for a 90-minute movie.
Yeah, but it's not just the page amount. It's the way I write, and I do come from that novella background almost, where I did enjoy writing, everything that could go into a character when you're writing a novel is cool because you can get inside their head, what they smell, what they feel, all those kind of things. I put that in the screenplay when I'm writing.
Sorry, what was that?
I put those in my screenplays when I'm writing as well. I want the words to flow. Like Sam's a poet too. She writes all the time poetry, but I want the screenplay to flow on paper. So transitioning over wasn't that hard for me. I had to learn to leave out a lot of detail, and then there's certain things you do put in a screenplay to help you out on the set, basically, But transitioning over as far as the different formats was not that hard.
Okay.
So, and I think you could write a novel in the same regard. I think you could flip-flop them. Like if you started writing screenplays now, if you had an idea for a novel, I think honestly you could write it. And I would recommend picking an author that you like, read a few of their books, and you'll start picking up how they write. Mm-hmm. And you'll go right into it. It's not as hard as you think.
The one that caught me with that was Dean Koontz.
Yep.
The one that always made me think of that was, I'm totally forgetting the name of the book now.
Midnight?
The one with the dog.
Oh,
where he explains the perspective of what the dog is experiencing. Watchers. Thank you.
Watchers.
What the dog is experiencing as it travels along. He's walking along, smells a cat. Cat, what's the cat? I don't like cats. And then, everything that's going on, he's explaining. And so that's the perfect understanding of how many more words you have to put in, as opposed to filming a dog where it stops and looks and comes back and then goes down and smells something different.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's a perfect example of how many more words you have to add to a storyline.
Well, and turning it into a movie makes it kind of different because you can narrow that down to Well, you would have to narrow it down, kind of.
But at the same time, also, you get the people all the time who's like, "Oh my gosh, the book was so much more descriptive than the movie."
Well,
it's got to be.
It has
Of course,
to
the
be.
book was 1,000 pages, and the movie's 98 minutes.
Yeah, but and you also didn't come with pictures in a novel, so we're adding that to the words when you make a movie, so it's different.
Am I right or am I wrong that in a movie,
Yes.
in 5 minutes of a movie could be like 2 chapters of a book? Like it goes so. Like, you can get so much detail into 1 little minute of a movie.
Mm-hmm. You can if you do it right.
Yeah, and that's sometimes the complaint
Mm.
is the fact that like going with budgets and going with dealing with people, and dealing with production companies and producers and everything, and having them go, you can't give that much description in the movie. You're going to lose your audience in the first 20 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
And that a lot of times those first 5 chapters of the book are the build.
Yeah.
See, and that is something for me because I'm not much of a book or a movie, really. I'm not a book reader.
What are you doing
I'm
on the
not
show?
really
No, I'm kidding.
No, but I mean, I don't read a ton of books. I read them if they're short stories because I'm really, I'm one of those people that will read something and then I'll put it down for a couple days and then I'll pick it up and then I won't remember what I read, so I have to read it over again. It'll take me years to read a book, a chapter book. So I have to read short story stuff or whatever that I don't have to remember where I was at when I go to
totally understand. We know what's weird though, when you're writing screenplays, and Sean, I don't know if you've dealt with this, but when you get in the zone when you're writing your screenplay, and you're in that zone, and it's just flowing out, and then you stop, and then you don't go back for 2 or 3 days, maybe a week later, and you can't get back into it. So then you have to reread your script from beginning to get you to that spot again. Do you do that? Yeah. I do that all the time. And if I can't get to that point by reading it again, so I'm feeling the flow of the story, then I'm like, well, fuck, I'm screwed. I have to reread it again and again and again until I find it. That's how I do it.
Wow.
So I hate actually when I have to stop writing. I want to get it all out all at once if I could and write it all straight through. I wish I could do that one day.
You have to sleep.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. No, that's a good point though, because I mean that's the other problem, because when I did that, because when I went on my trip is when I started writing Say Goodbye and really got into it. And when I came back, I had a hard time getting back into it. So I was doing the same thing. I was rereading it. Yeah. The problem is I was proofing the script as I was rereading it. Right. So I'm end up changing everything as I go and fixing the grammar mistakes and everything else. You gotta be disciplined to just read it to get you back into the vibe. Right. To feel the story going. Gotta get the feelings going.
At least that's how I do it.
And trying not to rewrite it as you're writing your first draft.
Correct.
That sort of thing. It's like, let's get this fucking first draft done.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Well, one thing for me, I generally, if I usually have 2 or 3 things going at the same time. So if I run into a roadblock on one, I'm just like, okay, boom.
Move on to the next.
Jordan Peele, in an interview, they asked him about writing, and his motto is follow the fun. Mm-hmm. And so basically you write, and then when it's not fun, then you put it aside and find something that is fun and continue on that. And so for me, I like right now I have 3 different screenplays that are about 75% of the way done each one. But, I've run into kind of roadblocks on one. I'm like, okay, put it aside, get on to the next one. But talking earlier, Aaron, about writing novels, I mean, for me, it seems like writing a screenplay is so easier in a sense. I mean, I think the number of words in a feature-length screenplay is about maybe 17,000, 18,000 words in a feature length. And that's with the names being repeated, over and over. And,
sure.
And for a novel, I mean, an average word length, I mean, I think minimum is like 60,000.
Yeah.
So that's like almost 4 times as much writing, for a novel. And so in some ways, I feel like the screenplay, I kind of get off easy in the sense that, it's like, and that's what I like about writing too, is versus being a visual artist, if you're trying to say, hey, I want to convey this sunset, so as a visual artist, you paint the water and then you paint the background, you throw some clouds in and you get the sun and then you get the people walking on the beach and you paint all this. But when you're a writer, you can just say the sun was setting on the beach.
Right.
Right. It's like one sentence and you basically let the reader interpret the production design.
Yeah, and then when you're writing a novel, you say the sun was setting on the beach, and then you describe the colors.
Yeah.
And then you describe how the wind is.
And the mist coming off the water.
And the mist coming off the water. And the sounds that you hear.
And it reminded you of when you were 4. And your grandma came over and gave you a cookie.
Right. And then after a couple pages, you're into your story with your character and you already set the scene. So, I mean, you just go into those little small details that you would skip over in a screenplay. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
I want to shoot the scene. Does that make you guys feel better? I want to go shoot that scene now.
Well, what's interesting, though, to me...
Nice sunset.
Is because he is a painter and he's a scenic artist, right? So I think you'd be a natural at writing a novel because you see things that a lot of people don't see.
Yeah, you have to have that eye.
And you're also a writer now. So if you were to put that scenic vision you have with the words, you'd be surprised, I bet, what you could write as far as setting a scene in a novel. I guarantee it would come out. And then poetically, it'll just flow.
Yeah, thank you for the encouragement. I think I still consider myself very much a beginner right now, and I'm still trying to get this screenwriting hack thing down. But yeah, I mean, it would. Again, I'm not going to write anything that's not going to be made into something.
Sure.
I mean, the idea of me having a bunch of screenplays sitting on a shelf, that's not going to happen. You know, if I have to make a coloring book out of it, that's fine. You know, but it's going to be a story
Coloring
being told.
cool.
Just make sure you put adult coloring book on it. Don't freak out my 5-year-old grandson.
Well, what's badass now, Sean, is if you do ever dabble in a novel, you can sell that on your own. That's the beautiful thing nowadays. You can get that up on any of the ebook sites or Amazon or whatever, Kindle.
Yep.
You get that shit up there and market your novel. Fuck it.
Do it. I mean, that's something, I have to kind of consider on that. I mean, again, I'm just plowing ahead with the ones that I have written. I'm just, like I said, I'm getting the storyboards out, doing the scene breakdown and everything. But, I had a question about you guys in terms of budgeting. I was doing sort of back of the envelope calculations for what it costs, for a low end budget movie. And I came up, I mean, this would be a low end budget for, assuming that you have, your grips, catering, location, this and that. What
about equipment? You have equipment or no?
Equipment and everything.
Yes,
so I thought I came up with about $40,000 a day. For shooting.
I'm sorry, did you say micro budget or low budget?
But
he didn't say.
Okay.
In terms of do you guys have like a day budget, or how do you figure it out, or do you just call your friends or your network, or how does that work?
Whatever way we can make a movie with what we have, we get it done.
Sometimes we do a movie with absolutely zero zip, nothing, and just the bare minimum of what we got, and sometimes we try to get better stuff, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
The good news is that since we started a production company, we've gathered a lot of great gear that you can use over and over and over. As far as budgeting goes, we're finding so many artists out there that want to be a part of something, that are so talented, like those ones that we talk about all the time, that it's weird that they didn't make it. Right. But guess what? Those people want to create good content, and they want to be a part of a team, and they don't care about the money as much as one would think. We want to give back to them for their time, because their time is value, and they're talented fucking people. They deserve it.
That's where the budget gets tricky to me.
Yeah. So when we start, getting a budget together, we decide more or less to give back to everybody, as opposed to buying more gear or hiring more people. And because we have our hands in all of it anyway, as far as production goes. So we can cut a lot of corners. If we have a 3-man crew, we have a 3-man crew, but we can get it done. We can still get it done. So that's how we do it. But it all depends. So if we did have a shitload of money for a budget, like you're saying, $40,000 a day, I still to this day, my man, wouldn't know if I would use it. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, I was just doing sort of a dream list, like, okay, what I'm used to, if I could pay everybody, standard union wage and all that kind of stuff. And I really tried to get it further and further down. And I mean, that is a very daunting figure and everything, but I really tried to be realistic first. And obviously I can, chop it down to 10% of that, or, 5% of that or something if need be. But I was just curious what your thoughts were in terms of budgets.
Go ahead. Oh, go ahead, honey.
What our company tries to do is prove that you can make something with nothing. In a way, that's what we do. And it only becomes complicated when you really want to give to the people that have helped out and come and done things for you, whether it be acting or making a soundtrack or whatever it is. And you want to pay them money because what they did for you was worth more than nothing, but they volunteered their time.
Yeah.
So that's where the complication is for me, but really it can be done with nothing. It's just, that's where the complication comes in for me, is that you want to pay people for their artistic talents.
Correct.
Well, I think that's where the sweet spot is. I think for a lot of filmmakers, I think, especially nowadays, I think being content, because the barriers to entry to actually making something are a lot lower, and major studios are unable to make anything for probably less than $5 million.
Right.
They just don't. I mean, they've got so much overhead, and
Sure.
Netflix and Amazon. I mean, you can say, oh, they've all this, but if you're dealing with any of these large companies, they're not even going to look at anything under $5 million. So
Right.
I think, but people still are starved for content. So I think people that can creatively make the sub 1 million, the sub 500,000, the sub 100,000, and just make it good. I mean, story is king, content is king, and that's why I'm not really discouraged at all by
No.
you got to be a Marvel action movie or some kind of thing. I think there's that long tail. I don't know if you read that book years ago. It was an economics book called The Long Tail, and it talked about how the idea that you have the blockbusters, whatever it is, a book, you have like at a bookstore, they'll have their top 20 booksellers, and they're in the front. But there are always going to be somebody that wants that obscure novel from an obscure author way down, and they may only sell 4 or 5 books of those a year. But if you compare the long tail of the stuff that people only buy once a year, that cumulatively sometimes is more than the top 20.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's basically a long tail of these smaller movies, books, whatever. It may not get as many people, they're not selling millions, but that's enough.
Yeah.
There was a documentary that came out a bunch of years ago, and it's about this traveling hairspray band or something. And, they never made it. They never, quote unquote, made it in terms of the big leagues. But they were these guys that just went around the country. They made enough money to have a house, raise a family. They had a great time. They weren't, on the Billboard charts, but they were working enough. And it was, it's something like, it's almost more important to have, 100 true fans that'll really want to see you than maybe 1 million people that like your stuff.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of argument there. I mean, not argument, but I mean, agreeing with that whole thing. And there's a lot that goes into whether or not obviously, if you have a good story and you have $1 million or $1 trillion or $1 billion, whatever to use to make that story amazing, like you can make it way better. But if you have a good story, you have a good story.
Right.
And I think that there's a level of, it can be told with nothing. It can. There's a way to do it. It's figuring that out and being creative enough to think outside the box.
Yeah. And then that business side kicks in. What does economically make sense for you to profit from your film? Now, for indie people, I think keeping your budget as low as possible gives you a better chance of making some profit off of that. That's easy.
Obviously.
I think that's
That's
it's very simple.
It's simple.
That. It's just simple economics, and I think people, when they get too much into the auteur, what am I feeling, and let me express myself. Like, nobody gives a fuck.
No one gives that.
Nobody gives a shit about your opinion. Nobody gives a shit about your feelings or that you grew up, on the wrong side or whatever like that. They want to experience something and they want to feel something. And if you can't make them feel something or experience something, switching the channel. So I think artists have to, on one hand, you can be these pie in the sky, walk around out of your mind with ideas and all this foo-foo kind of shit. But at the other end, I think an artist almost has to be a little bit of a warrior in the sense that, to be an artist is a difficult thing. And the world doesn't really, they sort of resent you on one level and they celebrate you on another level.
Right.
And it's like, well, what the hell are you doing? You're not punching the clock. So you have to almost fight for your own identity as an artist. And so I think the idea of the little waif, little, limp, artsy type and, they're so sensitive. I think you need to get out of that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to just go out there and do shit.
Yeah, you got to be a badass.
You got to be a little battle scarred. And if somebody says, hey, man, your stuff look like crap, and
Yep, I agree. I agree.
You're absolutely
right.
You
got to be a badass. I'm telling you. This is why I'm such a badass. Because you got to be that way. Got to be hard.
Thanks, Sean.
No, what?
Yeah, thanks for helping us.
Oh, what did I do?
You just he'll use anything to make his head bigger.
By the way,
not your fault. It's not really your fault.
If you write a novel and it does anything, aside from the fact that the three of us will buy it, but if it does kind of well, Aaron will be like, see, I made him do that shit.
Yeah, I take credit for it.
He'll take credit, yeah.
I'd be like, that's my fucking novel.
From here on out, Aaron will take credit for, pretty much everything.
Yeah. Aaron, let me get your address money for that mailbox money I'm going to be sending you.
I like the mailbox money. That's good.
You'll get your little monthly stipend here pretty soon.
Oh, I'll love that.
Book out, so.
Dude, that'd be badass. I appreciate it. That's so funny. Another thing, though, about the budgeting that's interesting. If we got somebody who had a name, a named actor, somebody cool, okay? Somebody we know people want to see. Then I can say you can justify maybe a higher budget for your movie, But if you got a bunch of nobodies in it,
you're not going to get people's attention.
And I hate saying nobodies, but you know what I mean, because they're all somebody, but they're not. They don't have that name. It's kind of hard to justify a higher budget. Like literally, we could take $10,000 or less and make a feature film easy. No problem. And make a good one. It's not that hard to do, and you're going to have a better chance of making that money back and then some on a budget like that. But when you start getting into $100,000, $1 million budgets, you better have a plan.
Well, it depends on what you use your budget for, because if you do get someone that's got a name and that's going to get attention to your story, if you put your budget there, you're probably going to get more attention than if you put it somewhere.
I hope so.
Somewhere else.
That's the trick. You got to be ready.
Perhaps with the subject matter, like perhaps maybe you're doing a movie. It's about washing machines. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, fair enough.
So you don't have any well-known actors in it, but you contact all the Maytag repairmen in the country and say, "Hey, come to my screening." Or does anybody want anybody in
that's your niche audience?
The washing machine business.
Yeah.
Oh, you make we're going to have set up a private, whatever. I mean, I'm just, so if it's not the star, maybe it's the subject matter.
Correct.
And you take that and the subject matter becomes the star.
Right.
And you find people that are interested in that subject matter, maybe if not necessarily the star themselves.
It's like the juicer guy. Did the juicer.
The what?
The juicer. The guy who does the juice machine back in the day?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when he did that, the filmmaker did a doc on him, and they sold they sold the movie with the juicer. They killed it.
Mm-hmm. They put the movie out with the juicing machine?
Yes, they killed it. They killed it.
Wait, they killed
financially,
what?
Money-wise.
Oh.
Financially, they destroyed
not the guy.
Yeah, it all worked great. But that's exactly it, because the juicer had an audience for it. See what I'm saying? It's perfect.
Yeah, didn't Colonel Sanders have a little Lifetime movie here recently?
Yes, he did. So. Yes, he did. Yeah.
I didn't watch it, but I think you're right.
And it's what's his name from? What's that TV show? Oh, I don't remember him. I didn't watch all that gay TV.
That's fine. My daughters work at KFC. That's super funny.
Do you have one of those ovens? Those KFC ovens that they were selling? I don't know.
No. My daughters are adults. They work there. They actually work at the real KFC.
KFC.
Yeah.
That's no joke.
But no, I mean, going off what you said too with the niche audience, and that's the important thing. So that was the backup plan for what we were doing, because when Aaron challenged everybody who made our last movie to write something, and I did, I wrote the whole screenplay after it started coming to fruition, going, okay, this is going to be a faith-based movie, and it's so faith-based and people who have dealt with people who have lost somebody to cancer.
Yep.
That's our niche audience.
Yep.
Which is pretty much everybody.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, do you like what I did there?
Way to narrow it down, Chuck.
Yeah, you really narrowed that one down a lot.
But you're writing horror. He's writing horror thrillers.
Well, I'll be writing horror again soon, too.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is that
nobody will want it, though.
He's picked a perfect category to start in with his stories that don't require big budgets if they're done right. You know what I mean?
True.
So you can make a big budget horror movie, but people are way more forgiving with horror movies.
That is true.
You know what I'm saying?
Horror fans have a tendency to really like the B-movie horror or the.
There's an audience for it.
Definitely,
huge audience for it.
Well, Roger Corman said one time. He said, all you need to make a horror movie is one cabin and 7 dead teenagers.
That's
right.
He's right.
That commercial. Do you guys love that commercial where they're that horror commercial?
Which one?
Where they're all like to what is it?
Let's
like
go
a guy?
Let's go.
with the chainsaws.
The
and
barn.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that one.
That commercial is hilarious. I freaking love that because it's so true.
It is so true. That's funny. Right on, man. Well, Sean, it's been a pleasure talking with you,
Yes,
buddy.
it has.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on. This has been great. I wasn't even sure if I'd last 10 minutes, because I thought I'd just run out of shit to say. But
Oh, no. We got into all kinds of stuff.
There's always shit to say.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my friend, you're a badass, and I'm really happy to meet you. And keep up with us. Let us know what you're working on when your scripts are done and whatnot. Everything you're doing.
Wait a minute. He's a writer.
Yeah, he's a writer.
Sean, you're creative.
Here we come with the challenge. Chuck likes the challenge.
No, I'm going to message him afterwards and ask him.
Loose term, but
Oh boy.
Actually, I was actually curious as to how much you charged me for the painting that's behind your head, not over your shoulder, because the painting would go with the color scheme of the room. But no.
Let's see. Let me look in. This one or
Nope, the other one. That one.
The second one.
That one.
No,
Yep.
no, no, the one behind.
that's
The one. Step by
right
step.
behind your head. Yep.
The one behind. Yes,
That one.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. You think of a price you want, I'll send it your way. No, I'm actually trying to get some paintings out of here anyway. So
That's awesome, buddy.
I just think he could replace Captain America over here on the corner.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's awesome.
Hey,
Yeah, no.
I'd love to. If you need some artwork for the studio, let me know. I'll
Yes,
send it
we
your
would
way.
love that.
That would be badass.
Okay, but actually, that was not where I was going with
Oh,
it.
I
But
thought you were serious.
But
Oh, I
but
thought
because
you
you're a
were.
writer, because you're creative and everything else, do you have a couple extra minutes for a game?
Oh, we got a
absolutely.
game?
Oh,
we
you
got-
want to play a game?
We got a game, guys.
Okay, we got a game.
game.
All right, we'll end on the game today. What are we playing, Sam?
Oh gosh, yeah, we got so into our conversation,
I
I
know.
forgot all about the game.
Oh shit, me too.
So we're gonna play Urban Dictionary game. Sean, you know how to play this?
Urban Dictionary game.
Okay, so you know what the Urban Dictionary is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yo, mama, you want to
So
play the Urban
I give
Dictionary
you a
game?
term or a word from the Urban Dictionary, and you try to guess what it means. That's all.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Are you ready?
Guests
Yeah.
always go first.
Yep,
so
guests go
good
first.
luck.
All right. So, chop it up. What does chop it up?
Chop
mean?
it up.
Chop it up.
I think that's just discussing, talking amongst yourself, figuring out the business,
Okay.
figuring out a deal, I think, or chop it up.
Okay. All right.
That's a great answer. Great answer.
All right. Aaron,
Chop it up.
chop it up.
When you're African American and you're forking out your hair, you're chopping it up
Okay.
because of the knots and shit.
I didn't know it was that.
Yeah.
With the cake cutter.
Yeah, with a cake cutter, chop it up. You got to chop that shit up.
Oh no,
Yep, yep.
Chuck! I'm scared
Yep.
of what your answer is going to be. Chop it
Well,
up.
it's not the literal.
Okay.
no.
No,
Chop
it's
it
not.
up.
It's not the literal. Chop it up.
What is it, Chuck?
Chop it up.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Chop it up is what you do when you really need to dispose of a body quickly.
Oh.
for
And last Saturday, I was chopping that shit up.
Oh my God.
Get out of here. What's the answer, Sam?
Fuck your dick, Chuck.
Hey, you're in the home of the Green River Killer. That doesn't
Oh
surprise
yes.
me.
Yep.
Yep. And I think they caught him. I hope they did. Or
Yeah,
is
he
it,
did.
it's probably Lawson over here. Jesus.
I grew up in Seattle during that time. It was fucking nuts.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that. I was a kid too. I remember.
Sean, you were right.
Is it really? He got it right?
It is. Yep. It is.
Working a deal?
It is. Well, it's have a conversation. That's basically what he was saying. Yes. It's chop it up. You're having a
Shit.
conversation.
Oh, great. Good for you, Sean. You got a point. All right. But next word. Give me one. I'm going to get a point.
All right, guys. How about this one? Moo.
Moo?
Moo.
How do you spell that?
No.
Like a
But
cow.
Urban Dictionary. What does it mean in the Urban Dictionary? Or what's the Urban Dictionary definition of moo?
Yeah, I don't know if it's some shortened version of move, but I can't think of anything.
Okay.
off.
Yeah, that would make
That's.
sense. Yeah, it's people are lazy.
He and I are too much alike. That was going to be what I said.
Okay.
Like, I was going to say,
fine.
moo, bitch, get out the way. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Moo blank.
Oh my gosh.
Since it's Urban Dictionary, I actually might actually do this one
Okay,
correctly
let's-
instead.
Okay,
See what
let's
you
see
got.
if you
Okay, so
get this one right.
Moo.
Yeah.
So you guys ever gone to a concert
Yeah.
and the concert's getting out?
Yeah.
And you're funneling thousands of people out this long walkway.
Oh yeah.
Everybody starts to go. Moo.
Got it.
And then I'm the guy who walks behind everybody going. "Moo." You got to bring if you're bringing the cow, man, you got to bring the sheep.
Okay. Well, I was just messing with you guys. It's what a cow says.
Oh fuck!
Oh, eat a dick. fuck your dick.
Fuck your dick, Sam.
Jesus, it's that easy.
An urban cow.
That was, because I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
That was just messing with you guys.
You really don't want me to get a point today.
Okay, so I'll do a better one.
Okay.
Clam jam. What's
Clam.
clam jam?
Clam jam.
Clam jam.
Oh, I got this one.
You're
I already
up
know
first,
it.
Sean.
Sean is first, though, so you have to
got
wait.
Well, It sounds like something.
If he even says
like
what I'm going to say.
a sex act.
A sex
Damn
act?
him!
Okay. What kind of a sex act?
I got the answer.
Do you care to go further or no?
Well, I'll just kind of let the.
I'll
let the
finish
few words maybe, but
Describe themselves.
Let's bring out the novelist, and you can
Jamming
describe
a
the
clam,
scene.
that's
Yeah,
kinda what
I can right
where I'm
now.
going with that,
It's
but
this. It's a
I'll just leave
clam
it at
jam.
that.
Oh,
Clam jamming. When you get the two
So
ladies, the
basically-
two ladies are
I
clam
thought that was
jamming.
scissors.
Well, no, that is
Yeah,
scissors.
that is scissors.
You take two clams, you jam them together. You get the two ladies. The two ladies are doing it. You know what I'm talking about, Chuck? Like on Pornhub, they do that. They clam jam.
okay.
They clam jam.
Don't throw yourself under the bus at all. You're like, hey, you know that one?
Yeah, you sent me a link the other day, Chuck.
The clam jam, if you paid attention to the link, is actually when a condom gets stuck inside of a vagina. That's a clam jam.
Is that really a clam jam?
That is really not a clam jam.
That's actually a good answer.
You guys
I think.
actually want to know what a clam jam is?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
It is the equivalent to cock block, but with lesbians.
So they get in the way.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you get in the way of two lesbian or
My
a
answer was
lesbian
better.
trying to, instead
Yeah.
of a clock block, it's a clam jam.
Oh,
That makes sense.
funny.
Clam jam.
That's funny.
I'll give him that one. All right, that was clever. That was clever. I like that.
Yeah. That's
That was very good.
Fun one, huh?
I didn't get an answer right, so fuck this game.
One more chance. Does he have another chance?
I could give him another chance.
Okay,
right.
one more. Last one.
Okay. Between these two, I'm going to go ARPing. What's ARPing?
LARPing.
ARPing.
ARPing.
ARP, A-A-R-P-I-N-G.
Yeah. A-A-R-P-I-N-G. ARPing.
Well, I've heard, LARPing was live action role play.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That means, like the people that dress up like they're paramilitary, but they're just, or whatever, any kind. But ARPing, yeah, I'm not sure on that.
You don't know. Okay. What do you think, Aaron?
What a dog does after he shits in the house and you kick him. He's
Aaron,
ARPing.
You don't kick a fucking dog, Aaron.
He's ARPing out of the house to get out of the house.
You do not kick a dog.
This is an Urban Dictionary term. I'm just giving you the definition. I'm sure
No
there's a
one in the
definition
Urban
for kicking
Dictionary.
a dog.
Okay, we're against kicking dogs in this whole entire world.
I understand that, but I'm
Okay.
saying if you've got clam jam and you can't say, I mean, kicking a dog could be ARPing.
Would
That's
you guys like to know?
absolutely not okay.
Would you guys like to know what ARPing really
Okay.
is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
go ahead,
let's know.
ARPing is grandma and grandpa doing it.
Okay,
Okay,
that's no.
wait, the ball's going.
Disgusting, but
That's
Boom, 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 boom,
No,
boom.
that's worse than
Boom.
anything.
I heard on YouTube that if you get girls bouncing on balls, you can get up your viewership. But however, this is more fun. I just kept the ball for myself.
Okay, he's literally bouncing on this medicine ball. You said what I said was inappropriate for the show. What he's doing is inappropriate for the show right now. Okay, that's uncalled for.
I don't know if we're ever appropriate.
Even if Billy Bob sends us, thumbs up, it's worth it.
What do we got? What's the answer?
what's
What's
ARPing?
ARPing?
Yes.
It is complaining nonstop about nothing.
Oh, fuck, so it is like grandma and grandpa.
Or Sam.
Did you just really say that?
No, I didn't say that.
You fucked the rest of your life, didn't you?
I didn't say that. Now look who's ARPing away. It's
So
me.
it's not an acronym then. It's an actual word.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's complaining nonstop about nothing.
Fucking ARPing. Okay, I like that actually. I'm going to use that.
However, she has gotten me with a lot of acronyms, so she's like,
Yeah,
what's
I do.
this?
I
And then
do
that's like,
those
I
a
come up
lot.
with this
I
creative
do.
idea, and she's like, no, it's just blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, that's boring.
That's fun. ARPing. All right, Urban Dictionary game. Hey, Sean, I think Sean won the Urban Dictionary
Yeah, you
game.
definitely won.
With one point.
Because you guys suck so bad you didn't get it.
Dude, I told you I hate this game.
I don't care if you think I suck. I get to bounce.
Oh, God,
Oh,
okay.
well,
On
good
that
for you.
note, Sean, it was a
That's a pretty
pleasure.
smooth bounce there. It's a nice chair.
Yeah.
He's got a ball
it's
under
a
his butt.
30-inch
Oh,
medicine ball.
okay.
It's a medicine ball. He's having too much
Oh,
fun.
nice.
Because I'm old.
Yeah.
I don't have a ball, but my chair bounces.
No,
Dude.
it keeps your back straight.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. His back, yeah.
Yeah. And he sits on his balls all the time. Don't you, Chuck?
Yeah, usually it's not the kind that bounce.
I know what's going on. All the time. Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. You
that.
ever sit down, Sean, really quick to go to the bathroom, and then you actually crush one on a toilet?
No, because our balls don't hang like yours do, Chuck.
Haven't recently. But
You need to start doing those curls again, Chuck.
Okay, here I go. One,
pulled up a little bit.
2, 3.
Anyway.
I feel like I'm doing like the workout from the 80s.
You're definitely not Jamie Lee Curtis right now, though.
No, I am not Jamie Lee Curtis.
Sean, it was a pleasure. Thank you for being on our show, man.
So fun.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Chuck. Really appreciate it. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
bringing me on. And we'll definitely stay in touch and whatever. And best wishes with all you guys' work. So
And
tell
same
our
to you.
listeners how
Same
they
to
can
you.
get, how they can see your work.
Yeah, man.
I think just go to IMDb. Sean Casey. There's other Sean Caseys. So I'm Roman numeral 11.
Got it.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
Sean spelled
and,
SEAN.
my website should be on there, my email. So, if anybody has questions about, scenic stuff or need advice on something, no problem. Go ahead and hit me up. So,
Awesome.
That's badass, man. Well, you keep doing your thing, buddy. I can't wait to check out one of your screenplays one of these days. If you need some eyeballs to read it, we'd love to.
And you guys keep doing your thing as well. I think you guys are doing something great. And
Thank you.
you guys are rocking it. So keep it up.
Sean,
you, brother.
do me a favor.
you.
Make sure you take some pictures around your place there so I can see all of your artwork that might be available.
Oh, God.
And just make sure
I only
you
have the two abstracts right here.
Chuck's serious. He wants to get
there's more
something.
on my website. I'll figure it out. So I have more stuff. So
We'll keep in touch with us for sure.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely, I will.
Okay.
Definitely.
Had a blast with you. Thank you, buddy.
you were
Thanks,
a lot
All
of
right.
fun.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Chuck, you want to close us out, man?
All right, Sean, thank you today for joining us on Around the Reel. Thank you for the cup of coffee and the conversation. And bye, Sean. Since for everybody watching now.
Yeah, he left.
That's okay. Bye, Sean.
So, thank you. It's always fun talking to creatives. And
Absolutely.
I will admit, Sam, I'm so grateful that you sent that information because for the last 2 weeks, I thought that Sean Casey was a graffiti artist out of Portland.
Okay, now we know.
So now he's actually a scenic artist, which
Yeah.
means that, he paints cool shit on sets.
He
Yeah.
paints sets and stuff.
kinds
Yeah.
of stuff.
He's in the production of movie
Very
making.
talented
Yep.
guy.
Fuck yeah, he's a badass.
Very,
Yeah.
very, very, very awesome guy.
Cool dude.
And now that I said something, I'm going to have to buy something. Shit.
There you go.
But anyway,
Well, get one.
So
Be
for
cool.
everybody
And look
watching
what I
at
got
home.
today.
Oh, yes.
Oh, and I came in here.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Amber.
Oh,
Yeah.
octopus.
My
Sitting
wife,
right here.
my wife not being in the show, but she's always paying attention to what's going on.
Love her.
Octopus tag. That's cool.
So
All right, you guys.
everybody remember out there, think hard. Because you're thinking anyway.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bounce hard because you're bouncing anyway.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning
Wait.
in.
Remember, everybody, think hard. Because you're thinking anyway.
Oh, for the love of Christ, both of you guys.
He just
Are
cut
you
me off,
serious?
though. Just cut me off.
Nobody,
man.
Yeah, because-
nobody needs to hear the old intro.
Okay,
or
well, I'm going
outro.
to cut you both off and say thank you for listening to our show. Thank you for tuning into Around the Reel.
That's great stuff. So why did they even tune in the first place?
I don't know, but they're glad they did.
Yeah. I think it's because we're trying to inspire people
We are.
and have fun with people.
People that are artists.
Creatives.
Yeah. People that are out there trying to make a living with their art.
That's a beautiful thing.
That's what we're doing.
They're crafty.
Yes.
So have them tune in. And how do they get on our show, Chuck?
You can get on our show by going to our website. Please visit us at cccentertainmentgroup.com. Click on the scheduling link.
I'll send you to me.
Yeah.
Sassy Sam was going to get you all lined up on everything
I'll hook you up with a day and a time.
sometime in 2021 or 2022 because it's filling up fast. So if you want to get on this show,
Get on
I
it.
highly suggest
Get on it.
you start clicking your brains out.
Come be our guest on our show. We'd love to hear your story.
We'd love to hear it.
Make sure you come visit us on Amazon Prime and OP Prime.
Oh,
Come
yeah,
watch
watch
The
our
Outrider.
movie. Watch our movie. The Outrider.
Yeah, you can watch Marcus
It's good.
Ford kick some fucking ass.
Oh,
This was a perfectly good take until you said
until
that.
you said that.
All right, well, thanks for tuning in to the show. Bye-bye, guys.